There is a very specific, very modern kind of heartbreak happening in marketing departments right now.
Heartbreak is a strong word for SEO, but I think I know exactly what you're talking
Oh,
about.
it is heartbreak.
Right.
Imagine this. You spend, I don't know, 6 months building a page. You optimize it. You get the backlinks. You check your analytics, and you are absolutely crushing a specific keyword. You're ranking #1 on Google, maybe #2.
You've got the featured snippet.
You've got the featured snippet. You feel like you've won the
The
game.
gold standard. I mean, that is what we have all been chasing for 20 years.
Yeah.
That blue link at the top of the pile.
Exactly. But then you go to a modern AI search engine. Maybe you're using Gemini, or you're testing out ChatGPT search, or you're on Perplexity, and you ask a question that should, by all logical rights, trigger your page.
Right.
You type it in, your heart is racing a little, and nothing.
Silence. Just
Credits.
you are nowhere to be found in the answer. The AI generates this beautiful, confident paragraph, and your brand is completely invisible. It's like you don't exist. It's the ghost town effect. You have the real estate. You own the #1 spot, but the traffic isn't stopping. The cars are just driving right past.
Right. And it's maddening. You're sitting there thinking, I did everything the SEO rulebook told me to do for the last decade. I have the best page. I have the authority. Why is this machine ignoring me? And that frustration, that specific feeling, is actually the starting point for this entire deep dive. Because the rulebook didn't just change. The physics of the search engine changed. To understand why you're invisible, we have to talk about something called query fan-out.
That is the term. And it turns out the reason your page isn't showing up is not that your content is bad. The reason is that AI doesn't search the way we think it does. It doesn't run one query. It runs a bundle.
Welcome to the Content Ship Podcast. This is a show about how content actually works today, not how it used to work. We talk about search, AI systems, and the operational side of producing content that survives change.
And before we dive into the mechanics of all this, we should probably set the stage on how we put this analysis together.
This podcast is created by people who care deeply about their craft, working intentionally with AI. Not to replace human judgment, but to extend it. That mindset is exactly why we built Content Ship, to give a single expert the leverage that once required an entire team. This episode was manually crafted by Marian Ignev, CEO at Content Ship.
And honestly, today's topic is the perfect example of why that human AI leverage matters so much. Because we're talking about a mechanism query fan-out that is fundamentally technical, but solving for it requires a very, very human strategy.
And that's our promise to you. By the end of this hour, we are going to explain exactly what fan-out is, why it's killing your visibility in AI overviews, and we're going to walk through 3 very specific operational strategies to fix it. We're going to talk about turning your content into reusable building blocks, and this fascinating concept of writing for retrieval.
Writing for retrieval is the phrase I want everyone to write down or just burn into their memory. It's the shift from writing for readers to writing for systems that serve readers. It's a huge change.
But first, we have to deal with the why. I want to go back to that moment of frustration. I'm ranking #1. I did the work. Why am I not showing up in the AI answer? What is happening under the hood?
To understand this, we have to look at the difference between the old Google and the new AI. And I don't just mean the interface, I mean the plumbing, the actual architecture.
Okay.
Think about how search worked in, say, 2018. You go to Google, you type in a string of keywords, maybe best CRM for small business.
Right. And Google looks at its massive index, finds the pages that match those keywords best, uses a bunch of signals like links and authority, and gives me a list of 10 blue links.
Exactly. It's a direct match. One query in, a list of pages out. And then the user, you do the heavy lifting of reading, synthesizing, opening tabs, and finally deciding.
Right. The work is on me at that point.
But AI search models, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about what Google is doing with AI overviews or what Perplexity is doing, they don't work like that at all. They operate on a mechanism called query fan-out.
Fan-out. I saw this term in the Google I/O notes you shared from last year. It sounds technical, like something a database engineer worries about, not a content writer.
It is technical, but it's arguably the most important strategic concept for a writer or a content lead to grasp right now. Here's the simplest way to visualize it.
Okay.
Think about how you personally used to search for something complex 3 or 4 years ago. Let's say you wanted to buy, I don't know, a new camera for landscape photography.
Okay, yeah. I'd type in best camera for landscapes.
And you'd get 10 blue links.
Yeah.
You click the first one. It's a generic top 10 list. You skim it. Then what happens?
Well, I probably realize half of them are way out of my budget. So I'd go back to Google and type Best landscape camera under $1,000.
Right, that's query number 2. What's next?
Then I'd probably think about weather. Is it weather sealed?
Yeah.
So Sony A73 weather sealing, that's query 3. Then maybe I'd wonder about the weight for hiking. Fujifilm X-T4 weight. I'd end up with like, I don't know, 15 tabs open, just a total mess.
That chaotic 15-tab browsing session. That is what the AI is now doing internally in milliseconds before it ever shows you a single word of an answer.
Wait, hang on. You're saying the AI is effectively role-playing my entire messy research process?
That is exactly what fanout is. When you ask Gemini or ChatGPT a complex question, it doesn't just look up that one question in a database. It realizes, oh, this is a multi-step problem. This user doesn't just want a list, they want a recommendation.
So it anticipates my follow-up questions.
It breaks your prompt down, the technical term is decomposes it, into a bundle of 5, 10, maybe 20 subqueries.
So it's not searching for best landscape camera.
No, it's simultaneously searching for landscape camera prices, camera sensor sizes, mirrorless versus DSLR for landscapes, camera battery life, and camera weather sealing reviews. It fans those queries out to the live web all at once.
And this explains everything. This explains why my generic Ultimate Guide to Landscape Photography Cameras page is failing.
Precisely. Because your generic page is trying to win the broad term. But the AI isn't really searching for the broad term anymore. It's hunting for specific pieces of evidence to answer those little subqueries. If your page doesn't have a clean, easily retrievable answer for battery life in cold weather, you get dropped from that part of the bundle.
It's like being cut from the team because you failed one specific drill, even if you're a great athlete overall.
That's a great way to put it. AI citations aren't awarded to the page that wins the head term anymore. They go to the pages that answer a specific subquery so cleanly and so authoritatively that the AI can just grab it and reuse it.
Okay, but is this just a theory? Or do we know for sure this is how it works? Because, search engines are famous black boxes. They change things all the time. How do we know this is actually the architecture?
We know this directly from the source. It's not speculation. You just have to look at the Google I/O 2025 keynote.
This is back in May of last year, right?
Right. Google's head of search stood on stage and explicitly explained this. He stated that for advanced reasoning, search breaks questions into subtopics and issues multiple queries simultaneously to build a more comprehensive answer. They aren't hiding it. This is the architecture of modern search.
It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. It's basically automating the drudgery of research, the part I hated, with the 15 tabs.
It is exactly that. The AI is doing the browsing session for you. It's becoming the first read experience.
That is a terrifying phrase for a content creator. The AI is the first read.
It is, but it's also the reality we have to design for. The AI goes out, fetches all the evidence, recombines it into a neat summary, and if the result is good, the user stops there.
Or they click the one citation that gave the most specific, useful piece of evidence.
Exactly. So if your content isn't built to be browsed by a machine, if it's not incredibly easy to extract specific facts from, you just lose. You're invisible.
Okay, so this leads us directly to that concept you mentioned earlier, writing for retrieval. This sounds like we're moving away from writing for humans, which feels wrong. Is this related to that acronym, RRAG?
It is fundamental to RRAG. And it's not about writing instead of for humans, it's about structuring content so a system can deliver it to a human.
Okay.
RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. This is the core architecture that powers almost all these knowledge-intensive systems. There's a foundational academic paper on this from back in 2020, I think it was called Retrieval Augmented Generation for Knowledge-Intensive NLP Tasks.
Catchy title?
Laughs. It's a classic in the field now. The core idea is actually pretty simple. The model doesn't just invent or hallucinate an answer from its massive training data. It takes an extra step. It retrieves relevant chunks of text from the live web first, and then it generates the final answer based on those chunks it just found.
Chunks. That's a key word here, isn't it? It's not pages or articles, it's chunks.
It's the most important word. The model isn't reading your 2,000-word blog post from top to bottom like a human with a cup of coffee. It is scanning for a relevant, self-contained chunk that directly answers a specific subquery.
So, if I have the answer to camera battery life, but it's buried in a long, flowing narrative about a beautiful sunrise in the mountains,
the model might miss it. It can't retrieve the chunk because the chunk isn't clean. The data point is tangled up in prose.
So if I'm a writer, I'm not just writing an article anymore. I'm actually creating a database of retrievable answers that just happens to be formatted as an article.
That's a beautiful way to put it. You are creating a repository of facts, of evidence, that the AI can scrape, Cite, and stitched together into a new whole.
Can I play devil's advocate for a second?
Please, this is where it gets interesting.
Because what you're describing sounds like an operational nightmare for a content team. If the AI is fanning out into what feels like infinite subqueries, best X for Y, X versus Z, pricing for X, limitations of X, and I need to have clean chunks for all of them, aren't we talking about an explosion in page count?
It feels that way, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
feels like the scope of the job just went to infinity.
It feels impossible. I mean, if I have to map out every possible question an AI might ask about my product, I'm going to end up with a content roadmap of 5,000 articles, CRM for left-handed real estate agents, CRM for people who only work on Tuesdays. Where does it stop?
This is the infinite surface area problem. And honestly, this is where I see most SEO strategies completely collapse right now.
They just try to cover everything. They chase the long tail into madness.
They look at their Search Console data, they see all these bizarre long-tail queries appearing, and they panic. They think, we need a dedicated page for every single variant.
And I assume that doesn't work out so well.
It fails spectacularly for two reasons. First, the obvious one. You'll burn out your writers and your budget. You simply cannot maintain that volume with any level of quality. The content becomes thin and repetitive.
Sure.
But second, and this is the technical kicker, the fan-out angles are unstable.
What do you mean unstable?
If I ask ChatGPT the same question on Monday, and then I ask it again on Friday, it might generate a slightly different bundle of subqueries. The model's reasoning path can change. If I switch from ChatGPT to Claude or to Gemini, the fan-out pattern changes again. You are literally trying to hit a moving target.
So if you chase every specific variant, you're optimizing for a ghost. You're optimizing for something that might not even exist next week.
Exactly, you're optimizing for noise. The strategic goal isn't to answer every possible question. The goal is to answer the durable questions.
Durable questions.
The ones that human beings actually care about when they make a decision, regardless of what AI model they're using to ask the question.
Okay. That sounds like our first real strategy. We promised the listeners 3 specific strategies to handle this. So the first one is about building these durable topical clusters. How do we build those without losing our minds and our budgets?
The core mental shift here is from targeting a keyword string to targeting an intent. You have to treat the main query, like employee onboarding software, not as the destination, but as a doorway into a much bigger topic.
Give me an example. Let's stick with that software example. My main keyword is employee onboarding software. What do I do?
Okay. The old way, the 2018 way, is you write one giant guide called the Ultimate Guide to Employee Onboarding Software. You try to jam everything into it.
Right. 5,000 words, everything but the kitchen sink. You've got the history of onboarding, why it matters, some quotes from HR managers, a list of 20 tools.
It's a monolith. The durable cluster approach says, okay, stop. When a user or an AI acting on behalf of a user looks into employee onboarding software, what are the recurring fan-out angles that always show up in the actual decision-making process? Not the random one-off queries, the durable ones.
So you're talking about things like
Pricing.
pricing, absolutely. Security features and compliance, like SOC2. Integrations with other HR systems, like payroll or HRIS. Implementation time and process. Customer support options. These are the subtopics that have independent search demand because they are real-world considerations.
So instead of one giant page, I'm thinking about building a cluster where these specific durable angles might get their own dedicated space, a whole page just on integrations, for example.
Yes, potentially. But there's a crucial nuance. You don't just blindly make a new page for everything. You have to prioritize based on a framework.
Okay, what's the framework?
We look for 2 main signals. First, and most importantly, does the subtopic have independent search demand or a distinct user intent? Can you imagine someone only searching for employee onboarding software integration?
Yeah, definitely. An IT manager would do that.
Right. So that's a strong signal for a dedicated page. The second signal is, would a dedicated page allow for significant depth without bloating the primary page? That second one is really interesting, without bloating the primary page. Because sometimes you read these SEO articles and they feel like Frankenstein monsters.
They do.
They have a section on pricing, then a section on history, then a section on what is software, and it's just a mess.
And the AI hates that confusion.
Yeah.
The model's job is to find the most relevant chunk. If I'm looking for a specific answer to security compliance of tool X, and it's buried in paragraph 45 of a general guide, that's a low relevance chunk. But if you have a specific page or a very clearly defined self-contained section about security and compliance, the AI finds a perfect match for that subquery.
So the strategy is, You win when your URL becomes a reusable building block. The AI fans out, asks for security, and boom, there's your page. It asks for pricing, boom, there's your other page. You're giving it clean Lego bricks to build with.
Exactly. You are catching the fan out. You're building a net, not just a single fishing line.
Now, practically speaking, doing this manually sounds like that spreadsheet hell you mentioned. I'm imagining a Google Sheet with main keyword in column A and then 50 columns for subangles. I've been in those roadmap meetings. They are not fun.
It is absolute spreadsheet hell if you do it manually. And this is where technology has to come in. You mentioned content chip earlier. This is the exact problem it's designed to cut through.
How does it handle the messiness of this? Because humans are good at the nuance, but we are terrible at the scale of this.
Well, the system automates the painful part. The workflow usually involves monitoring thousands of signals, industry feeds, competitor mentions, forum discussions, has to deduplicate all that noise first. And then, and this is really the secret sauce, it scores those emerging ideas from 0 to 100 against your predefined personas and your business goals.
So it's not just finding keywords, it's qualifying them. It's telling you, hey, this angle about data migration is a 95 for your CTO persona, but this other angle about interface color schemes is a 2.
Precisely. It tunes the messy, infinite fan-out universe into an ordered, prioritized plan. It helps you decide what goes into the production queue. It stops the panic of, we have to write everything, and changes it to, we have to write the top 10% of things that actually matter.
Okay, let's make this super actionable. If I'm a listener and I want to try this cluster strategy, what do I do Monday morning?
Here is the next week plan. It's a 4-step process. Step 1, pick one money query. The one that, if you want it, would actually drive your business.
Got it, the most important topic.
Step 2, list 6 to 10 recurring, durable fan-out angles. And don't guess. Look at your sales call transcripts. Look at your support tickets. What are your customers actually asking about before they buy? Is it secure? Does it work with Outlook? How hard is the migration process?
So get out of the SEO tools and into the customer's head.
Yes. The truth is, in your CRM, not just RFs. Step 3, triage that list. Keep the simple angles on the main pillar page. If the answer to a subtopic is just 2 sentences, keep it there as a clear H3 section. But for the complex angles, the ones that need evidence, charts, steps, comparisons, spin those out into dedicated supporting pages. And, this is critical, link them back to the pillar page with very descriptive anchor text.
So you're building a logical spiderweb, a knowledge graph.
You're building your own internal knowledge graph. And the KPI to watch is simple. Don't just look at the rank of the head term. In 4 to 8 weeks, look in your search console and count how many related subqueries your cluster as a whole starts ranking for. You should see the total number of ranking keywords for that cluster explode.
That's really tangible. I love that. It's a leading indicator.
It shifts the focus from ranking for one word to owning a topic.
I want to pause here for just a second. We're getting pretty deep into the mechanics of AI SEO. And if you're listening to this and thinking, okay, this makes sense, but how do I actually operationalize this across a whole team? Oh, that's exactly what we focus on. If you're finding this breakdown of fan out useful, you should definitely follow the show. We're going to be doing deep dives like this regularly, covering the operational side of content that actually survives these massive tech shifts.
It's really the best way to stay ahead of the curve because things are changing so fast.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get back to it. Strategy number 2. This one surprised me when I read the research from our team. You're saying that structure is actually a ranking factor now.
Structure is absolutely a ranking.
Because for years, structure just meant use your H2 and H3 tags properly.
It goes so much deeper than just the tags. The tags are the container, but what matters is what's inside. We need to talk about a concept called fact density, because this is the antidote to the vague, fluffy content that has taken over the internet.
You mean those introductions that always start with, in today's fast-paced digital landscape?
Laughs.
Yeah.
Or, in an ever-evolving world. The AI treats that sentence as zero-value tokens. It literally skips it. It's looking for data. It's looking for a claim it can verify and extract.
Okay, so let's get tactical. If I'm looking at a draft from one of my writers, how do I know if it has fact density? What does a failure look like? Let's workshop this.
Let's look at a specific example from the research notes. It's a perfect illustration. Imagine a standard Best Tools Roundup article. You scroll down to the section for Tool A, and the paragraph says this. Yeah. Tool A is a robust and powerful solution for teams looking to scale their operations. It offers a wide variety of impressive features that users love, and the interface is very intuitive.
I feel like I've read that exact paragraph 1,000 times on 1,000 different blogs.
It sounds nice, right? It
Yeah.
flows. It's grammatically correct. But to an AI retrieval system, that paragraph is completely empty. It's useless
Why? What's wrong with it?
because there is nothing concrete to extract. Robust is a subjective marketing term.
Hmm.
Wide variety of features is vague which features. Users love is an unverifiable opinion. Intuitive is also an opinion. If the AI is trying to answer the fan-out subquery, does Toolay have a mobile app? That paragraph is a total dead end.
It provides zero evidence.
Zero. Now let's rewrite that same section for retrieval. Same tool, same goal. But this time, we inject fact density.
Okay, hit me. What does the good version sound like?
The good version would say something like, Toolay is the best choice for remote teams because it includes a native iOS and Android app on all plans. It supports unlimited users for a flat fee of $50 per month, unlike Salesforce, which charges per seat. However, it's important to note that it currently lacks an offline mode.
Wow. Okay, the difference is night and day. It's not even close.
Look at what we just gave the AI. We gave it Lego bricks. Native iOS app, that answers the mobile question. $50 flat fee, that answers the pricing question. Unlike Salesforce, that provides a direct comparison. Lacks offline mode, that answers the limitations question.
You're basically pre-chewing the data for the algorithm.
That's a visceral image, but yes. You are making your content physically easier for the machine to parse and digest. And because it's easier to digest, it's far more likely to be selected and cited in an AI overview.
So the research team at ContentShip actually put together a simple 3-part template for this, a specific way to write these sections.
Yes. And it's a template I wish every content writer would just tape to their monitor. It's simple, but it's incredibly powerful.
Walk us through it. What are the 3 parts?
Part 1. Lead with the conclusion. 1 to 2 sentences. Don't bury the lead. Start with the direct answer to the implied question of the section.
So instead of a long wind-up, just say, Toolay is the best choice for small budgets because of its generous free tier.
Perfect. Part 2. Add reasoning and evidence. 3 to 6 sentences. This is where you give the concrete criteria. Mention the specific features. Provide a number. Give an example.
The free tier includes up to 2,000 contacts and 10,000 email sends per month, which usually costs over $50 on competing platforms.
Exactly. You're giving it the why with hard data. And part 3. This is the pro move that most people miss. Close with a constraint or a trade-off.
A constraint? Why would I want to highlight a negative?
Because it allows the model to qualify the advice it gives. It demonstrates expertise and trustworthiness. If you say, however, the free tier does not include multi-currency support, the AI can now use your chunk to answer more nuanced questions.
Like, what are the limitations of Toolay's free plan or best tools for domestic companies?
Precisely. You're giving the AI the nuance it craves to build a genuinely helpful answer. You're not just a cheerleader for the product, you're a trusted expert.
That is so smart. You're basically giving the AI the yes but data points that a real expert would provide.
You are. And I have to add a serious warning here about the explosion of AI writing assistants.
Uh-oh. I was just about to ask about that.
A lot of people are using generic SEO writing tools to generate content at scale. The problem is, those tools are often trained to sound like the average of the internet. They love those in today's world intros. They often produce generic, smooth, factless fluff.
So they are actively working against this idea of fact density.
In many cases, yes. They're designed to create prose, not evidence.
Yeah.
You need a strong human writer or editor to go in and tighten those sections. To say, cut the fluff, give me the spec sheet, give me the number, give me the constraint.
What about the technical side of structure? Does things like schema markup still matter?
It's definitely worth mentioning FAQ page structured data. Google has very specific guidance on this. But I want people to stop thinking of it as just a piece of code you add at the end. It's a discipline.
Mm-hmm.
The act of writing a Q&A block is the ultimate chunking exercise. Here is the question. Here's the direct answer. Clean, simple, retrievable.
It's forcing you to be disciplined in your writing.
Exactly. And if you start optimizing your structure this way, you start to track what we call chunk performance. Look at your featured snippets. Look at your people also ask boxes. And keep a close eye on AI overviews. Even if they don't generate a click, are you showing up? Is your brand being cited? That visibility is the first step to eventually winning the traffic.
Right. Visibility is the first step. Okay, let's move to strategy number 3. This one feels like a cheat code, I have to admit. The trusted page shortcut.
It's not a cheat code. It's a shortcut based on a deep understanding of the system's logic. If you can't possibly rank for every single subquery, because we've already admitted that's impossible, how do you still show up in the final answer?
You hitch a ride on someone else's bus.
You hitch a ride. You get your facts, your data, and your brand featured on the pages the AI already trusts and crawls constantly.
This goes back to the fan-out mechanism. The AI has its favorite sources for certain topics, right? The big authoritative sites it goes to again and again.
It does. For any given topic, the retrieval system repeatedly pulls from a small set of authoritative domains. Big publishers, major review sites, sometimes very niche technical documentation from manufacturers. It has a trusted set.
So the strategy is get on those pages.
Yes, but, and this is a very big but, this is not a buy link strategy. Please do not go out and start spamming editors with, please link to me emails. That is 2010 thinking, and it will get you ignored.
Okay, so what is it then? How does this work in 2026?
It's a relevance and value play. You are looking for factual gaps in high-ranking, trusted pages.
Give me a real-world scenario.
Okay. Let's say there's a massive comparison article ranking #1 for best project management software. It's from a big tech publisher, but it was written 6 months ago. In those 6 months, a whole new category of AI-powered tools has emerged, or maybe a major player just outdated their pricing model.
Okay, so the top-ranking page is already out of date.
Exactly. You reach out to the editor or the writer of that piece, but you don't say, hey, great article, please link to my tool. That's an instant delete.
What do you say?
You say, hey, I was just reading your excellent guide on project management software. I noticed the section on pricing for Asana is missing their new enterprise tier details. To help you keep the article fresh, here is the exact, concise, verifiable data you need to update that section. The new tier costs X and includes Y and Z. And by the way, here's a source link to their official pricing page to verify.
You're not asking for anything. You're giving them a free content update. You're doing their job for them.
You are providing a completeness upgrade. Editors and writers who care about quality love this. You aren't asking for a favor. You're helping them improve their asset and maintain their authority.
And if they include your detail and your citation, your brand.
Now, when the AI's fan-out process crawls their page, which it trusts implicitly, it picks up your fact and your brand. You are effectively drafting behind their established authority. You're getting into the answer without having to rank #1 yourself.
That is brilliant. It's using the system's own trust signals against itself, in a way.
It's just understanding the ecosystem. And we have to talk about transparency here, too.
Yeah.
Look at a system like Perplexity.
I use Perplexity all the time. I love the citations.
Exactly. If you look at their How It Works Help Center pages, they emphasize transparency through linked references. They want to show their work. They want to prove where the information came from. These systems prefer sources that are clear, attributable, and easy to verify.
So by providing that clear, verifiable data to the big publisher, you are making that publisher a better, more trustworthy source for Perplexity, which in turn helps get your information included.
It's a virtuous cycle.
So the KPI here isn't just backlinks acquired.
No, not at all. It's trusted page wins. It's a distribution metric. Are you appearing as a source on the handful of pages that are consistently being cited in AI overviews for your topic? If the AI summarizes the top 5 results and your brand is mentioned as a key data point and result, #1 and #3, you are almost guaranteed to be in that summary.
Okay, so we have our 3 strategies. 1, build durable clusters to catch the recurring important fan-out angles. 2, create fact-dense structure writing specifically for retrieval with that 3-part template. 3, and use the trusted pages shortcut to get into the sources the AI already uses. But I have to play devil's advocate one more time.
Before it.
This sounds like a massive operational shift. We're talking about changing how we research topics, how we write and structure articles, how we do outreach. And earlier we mentioned the infinite surface area. Even with these smart strategies, isn't this just fundamentally overwhelming for a small or medium-sized team?
It is the hardest part of modern SEO. It's the workflow problem. And it's where most strategies die.
We'll do it later. That's what I hear from teams. We'll optimize for fan-out next quarter.
Right. And then next quarter comes, and there's a new fire to put out, and it never happens. Because it feels like a monumental manual task. It needs to be a system, not a one-off project.
And this brings us right back to why we're even talking about this on this show. This is the operational context of content ship.
Yes. When our CEO, Mary Nignev, and the research team designed Content Ship, they were looking at this exact pain point. We realized that humans, content strategists, are great at the final mile, the creative angle, the tone, the unique insight, the specific fact density editing we talked about.
We're good at the judgment part.
But humans are terrible at continuous monitoring of 10,000 signals from across the web. We just don't have the bandwidth. It's a machine's job.
So ContentShip acts as an AI-powered content operating system. It handles the constant feed monitoring, it handles the deduplication of all that noise, it extracts the keywords and the emerging subtopics.
So it's doing the fan-out research for you 24/7.
Continuously. And then, and this is the absolute key, it prioritizes. It scores all those potential opportunities against your specific business goals and personas. So instead of a strategist spending 20 hours a week drowning in data, they spend 1 hour making high-leverage decisions. Okay, the system says these 3 clusters are our top priority for this quarter, let's execute. It turns what feels like chaos into a governed production engine.
Exactly. And then the analytics are focused on measuring what matters. Coverage growth and quality trends, not just vanity metrics like we published 3 blog posts this week. It measures if you are actually winning the topic in the eyes of the AI.
That's the critical difference between activity and impact.
So what does this all mean? Let's zoom out and land the plane here.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground.
The core reality, the main takeaway is this. Query fan-out is not a gimmick. It's not a trend for 2026 that might go away. It is the fundamental mechanism that allows AI to answer complex questions. It has to break them down, retrieve chunks of evidence, and then recombine them. That's how it works.
And if you fight that, if you insist on just trying to rank for the head term with a single generic page, you are going to become invisible.
You will be ghosted by the AIs. But if you lean into it, if you embrace this new reality,
If you build the durable clusters, if you write those fact-dense, retrieval-friendly sections,
if you get your data onto those trusted pages, then fan-out becomes your biggest advantage. Because every time the AI breaks a complex question down, it finds another piece of your content, another piece of your evidence. You are giving the model more ways to find and reuse you.
it's a complete shift in mindset, isn't it?
It is. I think we are moving from a world of attracting clicks to a world of providing evidence.
I love that framing, providing evidence.
Think about that as your new job description. If you consistently provide verifiable, structured, high-quality evidence to the internet, you become part of the very infrastructure of the answer. You aren't just a blue link anymore. You're the source.
That is a powerful place to leave it, a much more ambitious goal than just ranking #1.
I think so. It's about becoming foundational knowledge.
If you want to scale this kind of AI-aware content without expanding your headcount, visit www.contentship.io or subscribe to the show. We can help you turn fan-out coverage into a governed production engine.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive.
We'll see you in the next one.